the first thing I'm gonna choose to do is I'm going to take care once and for all of this Legend of Winning business. I personally have done this. We did this probably last weekend. Yeah, we did this last weekend, and I was not satisfied with it. I feel as if I could have did a better job, and so I'm going to approach it. And then I think I was a little too emotional. So I'm going to approach this in a more respectable lens, and I'm gonna hear him out.
The day, as we all know, of course, is what's going on out in Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks have decided.
Still fucking crazy him saying that.
Decided to part ways with Damian Lillard, waive his contract. He was owed over $100 million over the next 2 years. And from doing that, as well as letting go of Brook Lopez, I think a lot of people kind of forgot about that as well. But letting Brook Lopez walk, they then cleared up enough space to sign Miles Turner to his new contract, adding Miles Turner alongside alongside Giannis, and a roster that, quite frankly, is booty butt cheeks. It's a mid roster, if I had to say so myself. So let me share this screen back. It's a pretty mid roster, if I had to say so myself. I don't think it's anything of substance. I talked about this in my video I just uploaded, but I just want to be clear. Having this being your starting five, Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Miles Turner, I'm going to keep it a bean with you niggas. You might as well just trade Giannis anyway. I don't know what else to tell y'all. You might as well just trade Giannis. And I understand why they had to do it. They did what they had to do, especially if you kept the opportunity to try to keep a top 3 player on your roster. But, nigga, this is not cutting it. This is not cutting it at all. Not even close. Not even close.
If the Bucks need to trade Giannis, then I guess the Nuggets need to trade Nikola Jokic, right? I guess Miami needs to trade Bam, right? Because neither of those teams made a championship move this offseason, and as far as I'm concerned, neither of those teams were title contenders, or neither one of those teams were contending to beat the preeminent favorites in the conference. So I guess they need to trade. I guess Nuggets need to get on the phone and they need to figure out what they're gonna do with Jokic, right? Especially with Jokic saying that he's not gonna sign an extension with him. Well, where's the news? Well, where are you guys at? All right, Jokic, get out of there! Get out of there! This is a mid off, right? Aaron Gordon injured, hamstring. That's a serious injury. Jamal Murray hasn't played the same for the last 2 years. Hey, concerning. Your best acquisition is being Cameron Johnson. Hey, come on now. That team still isn't better than OKC. Houston just got better with KD. Come on now. Oh, right. Okay. All right. It's only because it's the Bucks. It's only because it's the Bucks, right? Okay. All right. For everybody that does not understand, this guy right here, this center, the guy that's in the center spot, that was not the center from last year. The center from last year was Brook Lopez, and Brook Lopez is a 37, 38-year-old center that gave some of his best years to Milwaukee. However, his mobility had started to become compromised even further, especially with the back injuries that were piling up. And quite frankly, he's just getting older. And so we needed somebody that could be able to keep up on the anchor side as far as guarding the rim, so that Giannis could be able to be as versatile as he could on the weak side in terms of guarding the low man, being able to swap out on defenders on the perimeter, and having the confidence. Yeah, that's the word. The confidence of knowing that his front line was protected with a more than comparable rim protector. And he got that in Miles Turner. Add to the fact Miles Turner is more mobile than Brook Lopez has ever been. So he's more than capable of being able to run in transition. He's more than capable of being able to attack closeouts, as we saw during this postseason. He's more than capable of knocking down the three-point shot, as we've seen over his career. So that's his value. And add that to the fact of what Giannis already provides in terms of hunting mismatches, in terms of his post scoring continue to evolve, in terms of his mid range continuing to evolve, in terms of his facilitating continuing to evolve. You have on your hands the dynamic center that Giannis has needed for, quite frankly, the last 3 seasons. So just that alone, it's impossible for you to view this move as a failure, or you to view this move as a bad move, or you to view this team as a mid-off, because quite frankly, KPJ last season, for the 30 games that he played for us after we got him out of I don't know if it was the free agent market or the buyout market, one or the other. But after we got him, the 30 games that he played, he was able to give us 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, while shooting 49, 41, 87 splits. And specifically, I want to show you guys a particular stretch that he played on during his time period. Oh, no. We didn't get him out of buyout. We traded for him. I think we traded MarJon Beauchamp to the Clippers for him. There we go. There was a particular 8-game stretch where he gave us, is it this one? I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. He gave us 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, almost 2 steals, only turning the ball over 1.4 times. Mind you, he's played 26 minutes because this around the time where Dame went out with the blood clot situation in his leg. And he elevated his efficiency with more time with 54, 44, 86 splits. Getting to the free throw line even more than he did before this stretch. Mind you, he still did not start during this time period. He just elevated his minutes. He only started 1 game. And we went on a winning streak during this time period, primarily because of that. But yeah, we're going to consider that. We're not valuing that in terms of what we're dealing with, right? Gary Trent Jr. for the entirety of the season for us gave us 11 points, 2 rebounds, one assist on 43, 42, 85 splits. Mind you, he also did not start the majority of this season. He then went into the postseason and elevated his production from 11 points to almost 19 points a game, 2.6 steals, 2 rebounds and assists, while his efficiency escalated to 52, 50, 80 splits. And we got him for pennies on a dollar. And yet that's not enough. Another person that also we re-signed this offseason was Taurean Prince, who he did not play well at by any means during the postseason. And I don't want to even lie to you guys as if he did. However, context would tell you primarily the reason why Taurean Prince did not play well is because we were down a guard. And so we needed somebody to fill the minutes at the 2 guard spot for our line, for the sake of us having a competent lineup around Giannis during those stretches. And Taurean Prince was the best answer. However, Doc Rivers, which we can get into that detail of his decision making, he decided to put Taurean Prince at the 2 guard spot. So that meant Taurean Prince was guarding Nembhard. And we know how Nembhard was doing. So that's a problem. And then he also had to guard Naismith. And we know how that goes. So that was the issue. However, in a traditional sense of what Taurean Prince typically was doing. Taurean Prince at the small forward spot was more than respectable for us. He gave us 8 points while leading. I think he led the league in 3-point percentage at 43.9 on 4 attempts. So a respectable amount. And we got him for pennies on a dollar as well. Also, buffering our bench, we got Gary Harris from Orlando. And Orlando, because of a lot of injuries, had Gary Harris step up a little bit for some stretches. Obviously, he was not healthy his damn self, but when he was there, he was able to assist them in having the second best defense in the NBA, in the association. And if you guys come to playback after this stream, I'd be more than happy for us to go and look at film of all of Gary Harris's defensive capability. But just for the sake of, you know, us wanting to do this, because I this is going up on YouTube after this. Gary Harris is a promising defender, 6'4", 6'5"-ish, with a solid wingspan, a good screen navigator, and then paired alongside Giannis. I do expect for him to be a little bit more chaotic and a positive for us on the defensive end. A team that, by the way, with Dame on the roster, was able to still maintain a top 12 defense. But yet, we're not looking promising. I think, me personally, I think Low is yapping, but the reason why I believe Low is yapping is primarily because he's not looking at the grand scheme of things, which he, why would he, right? His team isn't in the Eastern Conference, right? But speaking of the Eastern Conference, I want to show you guys something. The Eastern Conference this year is just gotten shaken up. Philadelphia should be coming back a little bit more healthier. Orlando definitely has, you know, retooled and became way more lethal. The New York Knicks are still nicking, right? Atlanta has for sure gotten better, but Indiana has Tyrese Halliburton. The NBA finalists, Indiana Pacers, was without Tyrese Halliburton, who torn his Achilles going into next season. And Miles Turner's on my team. So how do you think that's gonna bode for them? They're probably not gonna still be a top 5 seed. Boston, their superstar in Jason Tatum just tore his Achilles as well. They're probably not going to be in the running for a top 5 seed as well. Oh, and also they lost KP. KP went to the Atlanta Hawks, so yeah, they're probably not going to be a top 5 seed. Add to the fact Charlotte is not competitive, obviously. Chicago is not going to be a top 5 seed. I hope none of us is going to disagree with that. Brooklyn, as much as, you know, J Kidd loves his team, even J Kidd understands Brooklyn has a long way to go before they become competent in this conference. So the only teams that, and obviously Washington and Toronto still have some building for them to do, and they're definitely going to be on the up and coming in terms of Toronto specifically. But to assume that they're all of a sudden going to be a top 5 seed over Milwaukee, I think that's wishful thinking from a hater, if I would say so myself. The only teams that we're truly worried about in the Eastern Conference would be Orlando, New York, Cleveland, obviously, and then Detroit. Everybody else, I feel rather confident saying Milwaukee Bucks structure is better than Miami's. It is. Miami is a fantastic defense, putrid on the offensive end. You running your offense primarily through Tyler Hero is laughable, especially in comparison to Giannis. Atlanta is going to be solid, but Jalen Johnson is still hurt, and if he comes back, I would not be surprised if he's not the same caliber of player that he was prior to the injury. Trae Young obviously had a fantastic year last year. However, I don't know whether Kristaps is going to play full seasons. Do you know? I wouldn't trust it at this stage of his career. Dyson Daniels was fantastic. Do you think Dyson Daniels is finna have a jump offensively to that magnitude? I wouldn't trust it. Ricochet is a wild card. But you want to bet your money that Atlanta is going to end up being a better team than Milwaukee? Didn't think so. And so that leads to us the final thing that I believe is built upon this crux that Lowe is basing his argument off of. You don't believe that we're going to make it out of the second round, which is fine. We won't. We probably won't. But neither will y'all. And while y'all sitting over here dealing with mess over there with the Lakers, with LeBron getting frustrated that the Lakers aren't prioritizing it anymore. They're prioritizing Luka, but Luka is sitting there like, nigga, I didn't even ask to be here. While y'all dealing with all of that, have y'all made any moves to secure y'all as a team that's going to make it out of the second round? Are y'all better than Houston right now? Are y'all any better than Minnesota than y'all were last year? Are y'all better than Denver? Can y'all even sniff OKC's jockstrap? Didn't think so. But yeah, y'all not going to say Luka's on that last deal before this extension. If he doesn't sign this extension, we got to trade him. Y'all won't do that because that'd be dumb. That'd be dumb.
I genuinely believe at that point, you might as well just let Giannis work. Let Giannis move. Now, with that being said, the bigger piece of this that I did not get to talk about in my video was Dame. So I'm a bit conflicted because there's a lot of things that people were telling me in the comment section that I probably was overreacting to about the situation. This is probably the best case scenario for Dame, and that's 100% sure. But first, when it comes to Dame, the idea of him being waived, kind of stretching on his contract. There's a positive and negative side to it all, but it seems as if like Damian Lillard is ecstatic about his new situation. He's ecstatic. There are about double-digit numbers of teams calling interested in him. I want to first say, Damian Lillard, please take the time. Please take your time, buddy. I think I tweeted this out as well because I don't want Dame to be out. Here we go. Reports that Damian Lillard could return before the playoffs next season, and there are double-digit teams calling yada, yada, yada. Take your time, Dame. Take your time. There is absolutely no rhyme or reason for you to trade. I mean, for you to sign to a team when you're not 100% sure. Those teams will still be available during the season. Take your time. Take as much time as possible.
I agree. I agree. Damian Lillard definitely need to take his time. It just came out not too long ago, probably like a couple days ago, that he's going to end up signing with Oklahoma. Boy, if he signed with OKC, fuck. No, he's going to end up going with Golden State. And even though on a basketball front, I don't necessarily think that makes the complete sense, because I think Stephen Curry at this stage of his career is sort of a defensive liability. And Dame, for damn sure, if he wasn't a liability, he was a liability before the injury. He's finna be the definition of a liability after this injury, especially at his age. It doesn't make that much sense to me. However, from a personal sense, Golden State, Oakland still remains to be in home while also being in a competitive situation. It makes sense depending on the dollars that he's going to be offered, which he's getting paid $22 million from us. So, like, I don't think money should be like an objective. You just put yourself in the best situation possible for yourself. And I think that Golden State, especially with him being nearby, like his home being nearby, I think that they can be more than patient. The only thing that I do question is why exactly would Dame decide to do the shit like right now? Like, why not wait until after you have fully rehab for you to say, all right, I'm fully healthy, I'm ready. Where we going? What we doing? That's the only thing that I question. But other than that, like I want Dame to be Dame, be healthy, get healthy, so that we could see, you play out your career on your own terms.
Bro, what's going on out in Milwaukee? Massive failure. This is the reason why, like that hypothetical conversation that we were doing with T-Mac and all that shit with Kobe to me was like so tiresome because in all honesty, bro, we have no idea how things will work out. We can of course do the hypothetical thing, but like there's someone who actually did the thing in contrast to someone who hypothetically trying to do it. I just don't want to give a lot of credence to that because we have situations like these all the time where you have a player in a situation where you would think hypothetically it would work out and it just does not. And on one hand, you can be as optimistic as you possibly can for Dame. Oh, my mic is low. Is it low? My mic.
Oh, yeah. I remember that part. Chad, it's only a failure based upon your expectations of what you assume was going to happen. And what I mean by that is, I said in my last stream, when y'all speak upon victory being premeditated for a team, that is an expectation that you're putting upon them, understanding the context of the situation that's going on, but you just think that they're going to prevail. The Milwaukee Bucks losing in 2024 should not have been viewed as a failure because after Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown then proceeded to get Kristaps and then went and got Jrue Holiday from Portland after we traded Jrue Holiday to Portland to get Dame, the expectation should have flipped immediately. Fast forward, after Chris Middleton got hurt again and Damian Lillard then proceeded to, get hurt in the postseason, and Giannis already didn't play in the postseason against Indiana because he got hurt in that Boston game. The expectations should have dipped even further. Fast forward to this year, after Dame got called with the after Dame then got hurt with the blood clot situation, rewind that. But after Bobby Portis got suspended for 25 out of the last 29 games of the season, let's rewind that. After Jalen Brunson then received Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks for Julius Randle, and he also got to re-sign OG Anunoby, and he got Mikal Bridges from the Brooklyn Nets, the expectations should have dipped. So then at that point, that's not on them. That's on you. That's on you, brother. Even as a Bucks fan, I could have acknowledged it. I could have told you, nigga, we not winning no chip. We'll be lucky if we got past Cleveland in the second round. I have people in the Discord that can testify for me that I said on countless occasions, New York was better, Cleveland was better, Boston's better. Anybody else, we can beat them at full strength, but we're much more closer to that pack than we are to those three. And the reality of the situation is we lost primarily due to injuries. We lost primarily due to dysfunction. Not in the franchise, not in the front office, but dysfunction in terms of the roster. Our team could not necessarily possibly have been competent because we already had dedicated more than half of the money to Dame and Giannis. So everybody else is sort of just putting it together so we could be able to make as competent of a team as possible. And even then, we were having to outsource to get production from a Gary Trent Jr., outsource to get production that we normally wouldn't get from a Bobby Portis, outsource to get production that we typically wouldn't get from a KPJ. At that point, the funny thing is, in any other situation in NBA history, if we have to ask others to do things that they typically don't do, we typically understand that that's going to come with a certain level of expectation that they might not see the finish line. They might not make it past the second round, but for some reason it's viewed as a failure for the Milwaukee Bucks because You just simply looking at the trade that was made for Damian Lillard. Yes, did we make the trade for Damian Lillard for the attempt of being able to compete for a championship? Absolutely. But the moment that Drew Holiday and Kristaps got traded to the Boston Celtics to pair alongside Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Al Horford, as soon as that happened, them expectations tailed back. Whoa, I don't know. I can't say that. As soon as we see Cleveland going on multiple 15-plus game winning streaks, whoa, let's tail those back. Let's tail those back. As soon as we're seeing the New York Knicks chugging along as well as they did offensively, Karl-Anthony Towns having his best NBA season alongside of Jalen Brunson. Whoa. As soon as Dame starts dealing with injuries and he's having multiple 50, 55 game played seasons in a Milwaukee jersey, whoa. Context. It is not a failure. It is not a failure. You want to call it a disappointment? Fine. But it's not a failure.
I'm gonna put myself big screen while I talk to y'all for a second. Look, Giannis, I appreciate what you're doing. I do. But let's call a spade, my guy. This team ain't cutting it. It's just not. There's no other way around it. And I'll be honest with you all, the way in which many people are trying to discuss the situation, they're trying to be optimistic, but nigga, adding Miles Turner on a roster is not enough to justify paying Dame $22.5 million each year for the next 5 years. It's just not. At what ends are you trying to make Giannis happy? Like, I get the idea, at worst, second best player in the league. I get it. Generational talent. You do not just walk away from someone like that instead of trying to put yourself in a position to try to continue to win.
So if you know that, then why the fuck are you acting surprised? If you know that, then why the fuck are you acting surprised? This is the part that gets me. The Lakers do it all the time. His team does this all the time. They did it with Kobe. They did it when Kobe wanted out. They said no. Because you don't do that. And what did it do? It culminated to multiple championships as they got time to restructure around him. The Spurs did it with Duncan. When Duncan said this roster isn't enough, I'm looking at Orlando. The Spurs did everything possible, even after Orlando fumbled the bag. Shout out to Doc Rivers. Even when they fumbled the bag, San Antonio still said, come back. We got you. We're going to figure this out. Because you don't just let your players, you don't just give up on your players. You give up when they give up on you. That's what a loyal relationship is. You need something more recent? The Lakers had did it with LeBron James. For years, y'all have made questionable move after questionable move after questionable move for the case of trying to win one last ring for LeBron James. So franchises do it all the time. It should be nothing new to you. If you know that the reason why we're doing it is because you don't give up on a player the caliber of Giannis, then why the fuck are you acting surprised? I'm gonna tell y'all something, and then we can end this part. The greatest gift that a player can be given is a franchise that gives a damn about them. A franchise that values them enough to give them patience, give them courtesy, and give them a slew of pieces that can be able to contend for them or fight for them. When a player gets something like that, you cherish that shit. We've seen it throughout NBA history. You don't look at that and say, nah, that's not enough. Because it's nothing guaranteed across the pond. It's nothing guaranteed. If Giannis left the Bucks today and Giannis decided to go to a different team, who's to say that they don't get knocked out in the first or second round again too? And now you just shitted on the legacy that you did have for the sake of trying to potentially pile on to it. Have you ever considered that maybe Giannis might be content with being in a situation where he has a franchise that gives a fuck about him? The same way Jokic appreciated that. The same way, even though the Dallas Mavericks gave up on Luka, Luka appreciated that. These are not just players. These are people. And these people come from countries where they couldn't afford a pot to piss in. So when you work for a franchise like Giannis has, who assisted him in getting acquainted in the States when he first got here. When you're playing for a franchise that assisted him in getting him the pieces that he needed for him to develop into the player that we see today, gave him the patience, gave him the multiple years upon years of letting him play different positions, knowing we were going to lose, for the sake of him turning into the nigga that we see to this day. Have you ever considered that maybe that's his line of thinking? Maybe he appreciates that. And it's hard to say no to staying in a situation where I'm fucking appreciated. Because you go elsewhere, they view you based upon your value at that moment. You lose that value, nigga, Giannis, get the fuck out of here. If Giannis tears his ACL, knock on wood, and he's playing for the fucking Sacramento Kings, see ya, Giannis. He do that shit for Miami, see ya, Giannis. Nigga, he do that for your Lakers, see ya, Giannis. At least with the Bucks, we're trying our best to adhere to what he needs. We give a shit. When Giannis got hurt that year with Dame, the first year, it was a 24 season, and they were going up against Indiana, Giannis wanted to come back and play. Bucks told him, nah, chill. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You have so many more years ahead of you. Nah, it ain't even worth it. From a business standpoint and from a personal standpoint, nah, you good. We can try again next year. It's all good. And it ain't just Giannis. When Dame got hurt, they begged Dame, you good. You don't need to come back. Dame wanted to come back. Dame came back in game 2. By the time we get to game 4, boom. Fuck. But that don't mean the franchise don't give a shit about them. At a certain point, teams and players have a certain bond and loyalty that, nigga, it ain't like no KD shit. It ain't like no Harden shit. Y'all be wanting these players to treat these franchises like all of them are the same. All of them are the enemy. And that's not the fucking case. The same way Jokic, Embiid, Luka used to be Luka, not now, but even right now. Well, nah, because I think the Lakers will flip on him. Maybe, I don't know. Well, Embiid and Jokic, Embiid and Jokic will look at their franchise with appreciation because there was a certain level of patience and moments, key moments, where they said, I choose you. When the Nuggets traded that nigga Nurkic so that they could be able to focus primarily on what Jokic's needs, nigga, that was the moment. I choose you, nigga. Them trading MPJ so that they could go and build another competent team that could be able to compete alongside Jokic, that was the moment they said, I choose you, nigga. Embiid with all of his fucking injuries, rotating pieces every single time. First it was Ben Simmons, then it turned into James Harden. Now it's Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and VJ Edgecombe, and Paul George and Podcast P. But every single time they doing it in the name of Embiid. We choose you. We choose you. And get the fuck out of here thinking that everybody needs to be unloyal. Everybody needs to hold their franchise to the fire just simply because they can't do certain things every single year. We can't make moves every single year. So now that means you need to hop from team to team. Get the fuck out of here.